Welcome back to the Coins Explorer, where every small coin could hide an unbelievable fortune waiting to be discovered. And today we're diving deep into one of the most legendary, mysterious, and valuable coins ever to capture the imagination of collectors and treasure hunters alike. The 1944 Wheat Penny, a coin that looks so ordinary you might overlook it in your change. But one rare error version of it has fetched a mind-blowing $21 million at auction, turning it into one of the most sought after coins in American history. This story begins during one of the most fascinating periods in U.S. coinage, right in the middle of World War II, when the U.S. Mint made a drastic change in the composition of its pennies due to wartime metal shortages. In 1943, because copper was needed for ammunition and military equipment, the U.S. Mint struck pennies from zinc-coated steel instead of the usual copper alloy. But when 1944 came, they switched back to using copper made from recycled shell casings from the war effort. However, in this process of transitioning back, something extraordinary happened. Some leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally got mixed in during production in 1944, and these incredibly rare errors are what led to the creation of the world-famous 1944 steel wheat pennies that today are valued in the multi-millions. Imagine finding one of these coins in your collection or pocket change. A small, gray-colored 1944 penny that should never have existed. While most 1944 pennies were made of copper and have that familiar reddish-brown or orange tone, these steel versions are magnetic, slightly lighter, and produce a distinct ring when dropped on a surface. Only a handful of these are known to exist, and each has become a numismatic treasure, commanding millions due to its historical significance and rarity. But what's even more fascinating is that not all 1944 wheat penny errors are steel. There are numerous varieties and minting mistakes that can add tremendous value to these coins, making them worth from hundreds to millions depending on the condition, mint mark, and type of error they carry. For instance, there are 1944 pennies struck on foreign planchets such as those meant for coins from Belgium or the Netherlands, creating unique off-metal errors that collectors crave. These pennies may appear slightly underweight or have a different hue or metallic luster compared to regular ones, and because they were accidental, they are incredibly rare. There are also double die varieties, where the design elements such as the date, lettering, or the famous Lincoln portrait appear slightly duplicated due to misalignment during the die creation process. A double die obverse or reverse on a 1944 penny can be extremely valuable if in uncirculated condition. Then, there are off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the planchet wasn't properly centered under the die during striking, leading to unique and one-of-a-kind coins that often catch collectors' eyes. You might even come across broad struck or clipped planchet errors, where the coin's edges appear irregular or cut due to the planchet being improperly fed into the press. These kinds of minting anomalies make each coin a little time capsule of the mint's wartime chaos. Now, when we talk about the 1944 wheat penny that sold for $21 million, we're referring to an almost mythical specimen, an ultra-rare steel planchet penny that escaped into circulation, defying minting logic and surviving decades to become one of the holy grails of numismatics. Experts believe it was accidentally struck on a leftover 1943 steel blank that hadn't been cleared from the presses, and because of that, its existence bridges two monumental minting years, 1943 and 1944, making it a transitional error coin of epic proportions. Transitional errors are some of the most valuable coins ever because they represent moments when the mint changed metal compositions or designs, and any leftover material used in the new year creates a crossover rarity. The 1944 steel penny from the Philadelphia Mint, for example, is known to exist in just a handful of authenticated examples, with some of them residing in private collections or museums, while a few have surfaced in major auctions, commanding astronomical prices due to bidding wars among passionate collectors who understand how monumental this coin truly is. But even more fascinating are the 1944 steel pennies that came out of the Denver or San Francisco mints. These are even scarcer, as only one or two are believed to exist from each mint, easily placing them in the top tier of the rarest coins ever struck by the United States. Their value skyrockets not only because of their rarity, but also because of the historical narrative they carry, a story of wartime production stress, human oversight, and the fascinating quirks of minting machinery that turned a simple cent into a multimillion-dollar artifact. Imagine being the person who discovers such a coin, maybe hidden in an old coin jar, a family heirloom, or mixed among ordinary change. The difference between an ordinary 1944 copper penny worth a few cents and one of these steel heirs worth millions could come down to a simple magnet test. If your 1944 penny sticks to a magnet, you may be holding one of the most valuable coins on Earth. However, because the fame of this coin has spread worldwide, countless counterfeits and altered coins exist, often created by replating regular 1943 steel cents or coating 1944 copper pennies to resemble steel. That's why authentication by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC is essential if you suspect you've found one. Beyond steel and off-metal errors, there are also 1944 pennies struck on silver dime planchets, resulting in smaller and lighter coins with clipped designs. These transitional off-metal errors have sold for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Some 1944 pennies even have repunched mint marks, where the D or S mint mark was accidentally punched more than once, leaving a ghost-like double impression. These subtle differences might seem minor, but for collectors who hunt for die varieties, such details add immense desirability. There are also reports of 1944 wheat pennies with lamination errors, where the surface metal layer peels or cracks due to impurities in the planchet, making the coin look damaged but actually increasing its numismatic value because it reflects minting imperfections rather than circulation wear. When evaluating a 1944 penny, every tiny feature matters. The sharpness of Lincoln's hair, the clarity of the wheat stalks, the alignment of the lettering, and of course, the metal composition itself. High-grade examples in uncirculated condition with full red luster can already be worth hundreds, even without errors, but when combined with rare mistakes, their prices shoot through the roof. Collectors have long admired the Wheat Penny series not only for its classic design featuring Abraham Lincoln and the simple yet iconic wheat ears on the reverse, but also for the historical connection it offers to early 20th century America. The 1944 issue stands out as a bridge between the wartime and post-war eras, embodying both the challenges and ingenuity of that period. The fact that a single small coin from that year could command $21 million shows how rarity, condition, history, and human fascination intersect in the world of coin collecting. Each 1944 wheat penny error tells a story, not just of metal and minting machines, but of the people who handled it, the economy that circulated it, and the war effort that shaped it. And as decades pass, these coins only become rarer as more are lost to time, melted, or hidden away in private vaults. So, if you ever come across an old 1944 penny, take a closer look. Examine its color, weight, magnetism, and any unusual features. Because hidden in plain sight, that tiny cent could hold the key to unimaginable wealth and history. Coins, like the 1944 wheat penny, remind us why treasure hunting through change never gets old. Each discovery connects us to the past and carries the thrilling possibility that one small mistake made by the mint over 80 years ago could make you a millionaire today. So keep your eyes sharp, your magnets ready, and your curiosity alive, because the next multimillion-dollar 1944 era penny might just be waiting for you to find it. And that's the real magic of coin collecting. Next, 1951's Wheat Penny. Today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in the world of rare coins. A story that has captured the imagination of collectors and treasure hunters alike. The tale of the 1951 Wheat Penny, a small and ordinary-looking coin that has stunned the numismatic community by being valued at a staggering $20 million because of its extraordinary and rare errors, mysterious minting mistakes, and fascinating historical context that make it one of the most sought-after coins in American coinage history. Imagine holding a simple 1-cent coin in your hand, a coin that most people would overlook or spend without a second thought, yet realizing that this very penny could be worth more than a mansion, more than a fleet of luxury cars, even more than some of the most famous paintings ever sold. The 1951 Wheat Penny, struck at the San Francisco Mint, has become legendary because of a series of minting anomalies and extremely scarce varieties that have made certain examples of this year's coin some of the rarest ever discovered. While millions of ordinary 1951 pennies were produced, what sets the ultra-valuable examples apart are the mind-blowing errors that slipped past the mint's inspection process and created coins so unique that experts have called them once-in-a-century mistakes. One of the most discussed possibilities behind its astronomical value is the overmint mark error, where the mint mark S was accidentally stamped over another letter, most likely a D from the Denver Mint, creating the rare S over D variety that even under magnification shows clear signs of double punching. This type of error not only increases the historical curiosity, but also drives collectors into fierce bidding wars whenever one appears at auction, as it represents a direct link to the chaotic manual processes of the early 1950s minting system. Another astonishing variety includes double die errors, where the coin's design elements, particularly the date 1951, Lincoln's eye, and the words Liberty or In God We Trust, appear slightly duplicated or shadowed due to a misalignment during the hubbing process of the die. Such doubling errors make the coin's design look almost three-dimensional, giving it a visual effect that immediately captures attention, and in high grades, this kind of doubling can elevate the value from a few cents to millions of dollars. The 1951 penny's reverse also hides secrets. In some known examples, the wheat ears appear partially off-center or show dramatic die cracks, where the coin metal filled small fractures in the die, resulting in raised irregular lines that snake across the surface, each crack forming a unique fingerprint that makes every error coin one of a kind. In the world of coin collecting, rarity and uniqueness are the ultimate formulas for value, and when those two combine with beauty and historical intrigue, you have a coin that transcends its face value and becomes an artifact of immense cultural and financial importance. Another factor that adds to the allure of the 1951 Wheat Penny is the composition change anxiety of that era. Although these pennies were still primarily made of copper, the mint was experimenting with alloys and adjusting processes after the wartime steel sense of 1943, meaning transitional planchet errors could have occurred. There are rumors and unconfirmed reports that a few 1951 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel or silver planchets from earlier or test runs, creating coins that looked visibly different, lighter in color, magnetic, or slightly underweight, and these would be priceless if confirmed authentic. Moreover, some examples show signs of off-center strikes, where Lincoln's profile is misaligned or partially cut off, and the rim design appears thicker on one side, revealing the imperfect striking mechanics of the mint presses of the time. There are also broad strike errors, clipped planchet mistakes where the coin appears to have a bite taken out of it, and even die cap errors where the coin's details are ghostly and distorted, creating a melted or bubbly appearance, all of which make these mistakes instantly noticeable to expert collectors. The reason these coins can command prices in the tens of millions is not only their scarcity, but also the intense competition among elite collectors, museums, and private investors who view these coins as physical time capsules, pieces of American history struck in metal that tell a story of craftsmanship, imperfection, and chance. The discovery stories surrounding the 1951 Wheat Penny are equally fascinating. Some have been found in old penny jars, inherited collections, and estate sales where owners had no idea of the treasure they were holding, and once authenticated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, these coins suddenly turned ordinary people into millionaires overnight. Condition plays a critical role as well, because if a 1951 penny with a rare error is found in mint state condition, especially graded MS67 or higher, the price can skyrocket exponentially due to its pristine luster, sharp strike, and untouched surfaces that showcase every detail of the minting error clearly. Experts also mention that proof-like examples, though not officially minted as proofs, exist due to specially polished dies accidentally used for regular circulation coins, giving these pennies a mirror-like shine and further adding to their desirability. Collectors often look for small but crucial diagnostics such as repunched mint marks, die chips near Lincoln's bow tie or in the wheat ears, and variations in the spacing of the lettering, all subtle indicators that separate an ordinary coin from a multi-million-dollar rarity. The 1951 penny represents not just a piece of currency, but a moment frozen in time, an object that traveled through decades and economic changes, surviving the hands of thousands until someone finally noticed its unusual traits and realized its hidden fortune. For numismatists, each imperfection tells a story. The story of the mint worker who manually set the dies, the machinery that trembled under production speed, and the unpredictable nature of metal striking that birthed unintentional masterpieces. The coin market has proven again and again that when it comes to rare pennies, passion meets price, and the 1951 Wheat Penny is the perfect example, a coin that unites human curiosity, historical significance, and the thrill of discovery. Imagine the excitement of finding such a coin in your change, the heartbeat racing moment when you notice a double date or a strange mint mark, and the realization that what looks like a normal cent could be worth $20 million. This coin serves as a reminder that hidden treasures are still out there, waiting to be found by those with sharp eyes and a love for the hunt. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone new to coin collecting, the 1951 Wheat Penny teaches us one powerful lesson: never underestimate the smallest things, because even a humble penny can hold unimaginable value when luck, history, and rarity collide. So the next time you come across a 1951 penny, take a closer look under magnification, check its weight, observe its color and strike details, and compare it with verified error examples. You never know if you might be holding the next multi-million-dollar rarity. The legacy of this coin continues to inspire treasure hunters around the world, and its breathtaking auction stories will forever echo in numismatic history as proof that miracles can exist in pocket change, reminding us that sometimes the most ordinary objects can turn into the greatest discoveries of our lifetime. Next, 1945 Wheat Penny. Coin lovers and treasure seekers, where every small piece of copper could hide a story worth millions. And today we are diving into one of the most unbelievable tales in numismatic history, the 1945 Wheat Penny, a seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and experts alike by reaching an estimated value of $53 million because of its fascinating and incredibly rare errors, minting mistakes, and mysterious variations that have turned this humble penny into a true legend of American coinage. Imagine holding a coin from the end of World War II, a year symbolizing victory, hope, and change, only to realize that this little piece of history in your hand could be worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or entire collections combined. The 1945 Wheat Penny might look like any other Lincoln cent at first glance, with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the classic wheat stalks on the reverse, but hidden within some of these coins are errors so unique and mind-bending that their discovery has sent shockwaves through the coin-collecting world. Collectors have long known that minting mistakes can create rare varieties, but the 1945 Wheat Penny stands as one of the most fascinating examples of how a small imperfection can make something priceless. The story begins at the U.S. Mint, where millions of 1945 pennies were struck in copper alloy planchets, yet among those, a few were produced with rare transitional metal compositions, off-center strikes, and even double dies, giving rise to versions that defy logic and convention. One of the most legendary 1945 Wheat Pennies is believed to have been struck on a silver planchet intended for a dime, creating a coin with a silvery tone and a slightly reduced weight compared to the standard copper pennies, an error so extraordinary that numismatists consider it nearly impossible under normal circumstances. Such minting accidents usually occur when leftover planchets from previous years are accidentally fed into the presses, and since the wartime years from 1943 to 1945 saw numerous material transitions due to copper shortages, it's possible that a few misfed planchets caused these one-of-a-kind creations. Another astonishing variety comes from the famous 1945 double die penny, where the doubling is clearly visible on Lincoln's eye, the date, and even the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." The dramatic doubling effect happened when the die received multiple impressions out of alignment, creating a ghost-like second image that collectors crave. When found in pristine condition, these double die examples are extremely scarce, with some reported to have been auctioned privately for seven-figure sums, fueling the myth of the $53 million specimen. But the intrigue doesn't end there. There are also 1945 Wheat Pennies showing broad strikes, off-center impressions, and die cracks that snake across Lincoln's face or the wheat stalks, each error telling its own story of mechanical mishap. Some 1945 cents were discovered with clipped planchets, where part of the metal blank was missing before the strike, resulting in a crescent-shaped edge that adds to the mystique and value. The accumulation of such unique traits is what propels one particular coin, often rumored to have multiple combined errors, such as being struck off-center, on the wrong metal, and with visible doubling, to reach the astonishing $53 million valuation. Beyond the minting errors themselves, what makes this coin even more desirable is the historical context of 1945. It marked the end of World War II, a time when resources were scarce, and the U.S. Mint faced extraordinary production demands. Wartime changes in metal composition, including the zinc-coated steel cents of 1943 and the return to copper alloys afterward, created an environment ripe for transitional mistakes. A few 1945 Wheat Pennies may have been struck using leftover experimental planchets or mismatched dies from previous years, and those rare survivors became numismatic marvels. Some experts even speculate that special presentation coins were made for government officials or dignitaries, and that one such coin may have been accidentally struck on a unique metal blend, enhancing its mystique. The penny's physical appearance also adds to its charm. Under magnification, collectors have found distinct die polishing marks, tiny cracks, and slight shifts in the lettering alignment that confirm it came from a die with a turbulent production history. Each of these markers increases its desirability, because error collectors love coins that reveal the story of their creation. Over time, rumors spread among collectors of a near-perfect specimen exhibiting both a double die obverse and a wrong planchet composition, authenticated and graded by top-tier services, leading to speculative bidding wars that skyrocketed its price. Stories from coin shows and private auctions tell of one coin rumored to have changed hands between elite collectors, museums, and even investors, pushing its estimated market value beyond imagination. A price tag of $53 million may sound unbelievable for a 1-cent coin, yet when rarity, condition, provenance, and historical symbolism intersect, the value transcends face value entirely. Think about it. Out of billions of 1945 pennies minted, only a microscopic fraction could bear such dramatic, layered minting anomalies, and in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness equals value. The coin's allure is not just in its errors, but also in what it represents. A tangible link to an era of change, a small artifact from a year that reshaped the world, and a mystery that keeps collectors dreaming. Many 1945 wheat pennies in circulation today might seem dull and worn, but for those who know what to look for, even the tiniest detail, a misplaced mint mark, a subtle doubling, or an odd coloration, could mean the difference between pocket change and a life-changing fortune. Experts recommend checking for mint marks under magnification. A 1945S with repunched mint marks or a 1945D with doubled lettering could also command immense value, especially in uncirculated or proof-like condition. Some pieces struck with die rotations, where the reverse is misaligned from the obverse by several degrees, have also fetched impressive premiums, proving that even mechanical errors can become artistic in the eyes of collectors. Over the years, the legend of the multi-million-dollar 1945 penny has grown with every discovery, every auction record, and every whispered story of hidden treasures in old jars, attics, and estates. Whether you are a seasoned collector or a casual enthusiast, this story reminds us that history hides in plain sight, and that what seems ordinary might be extraordinary if you just take a closer look. The next time you hold a 1945 wheat penny, don't dismiss it as just another relic from the past, because among them lies the possibility of a masterpiece, a coin that defied the odds, a piece of metal that crossed the threshold from currency to treasure. So, keep your eyes sharp and your curiosity alive, because one small detail could reveal a hidden fortune. From its wartime origin to its astonishing price tag, the 1945 wheat penny's story continues to inspire, amaze, and captivate the imagination of collectors worldwide. And who knows, maybe the next million-dollar discovery is sitting quietly in your coin jar, waiting for someone with the heart of an explorer to uncover its secret, just like the $53 million 1945 wheat penny that proved even a penny can make history. Next, 1951 wheat penny. The fascinating world of rare coins and incredible discoveries, where even a small piece of copper can turn into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And today, we're diving deep into the unbelievable story of the 1951 wheat penny that's estimated to be worth a jaw-dropping $74 million because of its extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and remarkable history that sets it apart from ordinary coins that most people handle every day without realizing their hidden potential. The 1951 wheat penny may look like just another 1-cent coin with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent on the reverse, but beneath its simple appearance lies a world of mystery and numismatic excitement, because certain examples of this coin are known to possess a combination of rare minting errors, striking anomalies, and preservation conditions so exceptional that they defy logic and make collectors around the world compete fiercely for ownership. When we talk about a coin being worth $74 million, it's not just about age or metal content. It's about uniqueness, provenance, rarity, and the circumstances surrounding its creation. And in the case of the 1951 wheat penny, all these factors converge to create a perfect storm of numismatic intrigue. This coin was struck during a period when the U.S. Mint was transitioning from wartime production back to normalcy, and minting inconsistencies were not uncommon, but some 1951 pennies managed to leave the mint with errors that are now considered some of the most valuable ever seen. For instance, certain 1951 wheat pennies have been found struck on the wrong planchet, meaning that instead of being minted on the standard copper alloy blanks, they were mistakenly struck on planchets meant for other denominations such as dimes or foreign coins, resulting in a lighter weight and smaller diameter that instantly catch the eye of experienced collectors. Others show double die obverse errors, where the inscriptions like Liberty and the date 1951 appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process, producing a ghostly doubling effect that gives these coins a striking and unmistakable appearance. There are also examples where the mint mark, D for Denver or S for San Francisco, was repunched, meaning the mint worker accidentally stamped the mint mark more than once at slightly different angles, creating a layered look that makes the coin visually distinct and historically fascinating. Some rare 1951 pennies even display off-center strikes, where the design is shifted away from the center of the coin, leaving blank edges or distorted details, a type of error that was not commonly preserved back then, because quality control workers would often remove such coins from circulation immediately, making surviving examples highly sought after today. But what truly sets the $74 million 1951 wheat penny apart is not just one error. It's a combination of multiple rare attributes coming together in one coin, perhaps a double die with a planchet error and a repunched mint mark, all preserved in nearly perfect condition, making it an unparalleled rarity that commands astronomical value in private auctions. Some numismatic experts believe that such a specimen might have been part of a small batch of test strikes or experimental minting runs that somehow escaped the mint, and its survival in pristine uncirculated condition suggests that it may have been carefully stored or accidentally saved by someone who recognized its uniqueness decades ago. The coin's surface, luster, and sharpness of detail add even more to its appeal, as any coin from 1951 that retains its original red brilliance is already rare, but when that brilliance is combined with minting anomalies, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Imagine finding one in your collection, a coin that looks like every other penny at first glance, but upon closer inspection reveals faint doubling, a shifted design, or an unusual thickness, all subtle signs that it might be one of those rare minting wonders capable of changing your life overnight. Even slight variations in the thickness of the rim, the spacing of the lettering, or the alignment of Lincoln's portrait can make a huge difference in value, because seasoned collectors and grading experts can trace specific die pairs and identify whether a coin came from a known error batch. Some theories suggest that these ultra-rare 1951 pennies were the result of a misfeed in the coin press, causing multiple planchets to overlap, or that certain dies were overused, resulting in softer impressions and ghost images, which now serve as identifying markers for these exceptional coins. There are also stories circulating among collectors that a handful of these 1951 pennies were struck using leftover dies from previous years, or using foreign planchets intended for allied countries, which would explain unusual weights and metal compositions detected in some specimens. The market for error coins has exploded in recent years, with collectors willing to pay millions for the right combination of rarity, error type, and condition, and that's exactly why the 1951 wheat penny with its spectacular anomalies reached an estimated $74 million valuation at a private sale, an event that left the numismatic community in awe. Imagine the reactions at an auction when such a coin appears, its bidding starting in the hundreds of thousands and quickly climbing into millions as collectors and investors realize they're witnessing a piece of minting history that may never appear again. The 1951 wheat penny represents not just a minting accident, but a symbol of how human error and precision craftsmanship can combine to create something truly extraordinary. Every scratch, every strike line, every misalignment tells a story of the machinery, the workers, and the era it came from. What's even more fascinating is how coins like this make people rethink everyday change, because any of us could be holding an overlooked treasure without realizing it, sitting quietly in a jar or drawer for decades. Checking your coins under magnification, weighing them carefully, and comparing details with known error varieties might uncover something truly special. Perhaps your coin has a die crack running across Lincoln's shoulder, or a slightly misplaced mint mark, or a faint double outline around the lettering, all potential clues that it might belong to one of the rarest categories of 1951 wheat pennies. It's the combination of condition, error type, and mystery that pushes its value beyond imagination, And the idea that a single cent could fetch $74 million proves just how deep the fascination with numismatics goes. Some collectors even speculate that the $74 million example might have a unique composition, perhaps struck on an experimental bronze alloy or transitional metal blank that was never intended for circulation, making it both a historical artifact and a scientific curiosity. The magnetic properties, weight measurements, and metallurgical composition of such coins are often tested by experts to verify their authenticity, and when everything checks out, the result is a coin so rare that it's essentially priceless. The 1951 Wheat Penny's legacy continues to inspire treasure hunters, coin enthusiasts, and historians alike, reminding us that mistakes made decades ago can transform into miracles of modern collecting. Every time a coin is discovered with even the smallest anomaly, the excitement of possibility reignites, as people imagine finding the next multi-million-dollar piece hiding in plain sight. So whether you're a casual collector or a serious investor, the story of the 1951 Wheat Penny worth $74 million serves as a thrilling reminder to look closer, to appreciate the details, and to never underestimate the humble penny in your pocket, because sometimes that ordinary-looking coin could hold the extraordinary power to change your life forever. Next, 1954's Wheat Penny. Today, we're exploring one of the most astonishing and mind-blowing stories in numismatic history, the 1954's Wheat Penny that shocked collectors around the world when one rare specimen was reportedly valued at an unbelievable $90 million, all because of a combination of errors, minting mistakes, and historical quirks that turned this tiny copper coin into a multi-million-dollar legend. So if you're a coin enthusiast or even just someone who loves discovering hidden treasures, stay tuned. Because what you're about to learn about the 1954's Wheat Penny could completely change the way you look at the coins lying in your drawer, your old jar, or your family's coin collection, as we uncover why this little piece of metal has captured the imagination of collectors and investors everywhere. The 1954's Wheat Penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint, which was nearing the end of its production of the famous Lincoln wheat design before transitioning to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse a few years later, making any coins from this period more sentimental to collectors. But the real magic lies in the mistakes that happened during its minting, turning what should have been just another penny into something almost mythic in rarity. One of the most significant and widely discussed errors that can make a 1954's Wheat Penny incredibly valuable is the double die error, where the coin's design elements appear doubled due to misalignment during the die creation process, resulting in doubled letters in Liberty, in God We Trust, and the date, 1954, itself. When such doubling is strong and clear, it makes the coin a prime target for collectors, and in the case of the ultra-rare specimen that fetched the mind-boggling figure, the doubling was so extreme and crisp that experts believe it may have come from a unique die that was used only briefly before being replaced, creating a truly one-of-a-kind piece. Another factor that skyrocketed its value was the presence of a dramatic mintmark error. Instead of a clean S mintmark, the coin displayed what appeared to be a repunched or misplaced mintmark, known as RPM, where the S seems to be punched multiple times or even at a slightly different angle, giving the coin a distorted appearance that immediately catches the eye of experienced numismatists. Because such RPMs were common in that era due to manual mintmark punching, but only a few survived in pristine condition, and one like this in perfect uncirculated grade could indeed be worth millions. The composition of the 1954's Wheat Penny adds another layer of intrigue, as during that post-war era, the mint used leftover copper and sometimes mixed metals from earlier experiments, and there are strong rumors and verified cases of transitional errors where coins meant to be struck on a copper planchet were accidentally struck on foreign or experimental metals, including steel or silver planchets left over from previous wartime production. Such off-metal errors are extremely rare and valuable because they represent an actual historical mistake in the minting process, And if the $90 million example indeed has a unique metallic composition confirmed by metallurgical analysis, that alone could explain why collectors were willing to pay astronomical sums for it. Imagine holding a coin that was never meant to exist, a coin whose every tiny detail tells a story of human error, industrial precision, and historical transition, and that's exactly what makes the 1954 Wheat Penny so captivating. Some examples even show die cracks, die chips, or cuds, where parts of the die broke off or filled with debris, leaving raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, which are visual proof of the minting chaos that can lead to rarity and, eventually, incredible value. Then, there's the mystery of the proof-like strikes and mirror finishes that some 1954 cents display, believed to be test strikes or early strikes made from highly polished dies, producing coins with unusually sharp details and glossy fields, almost like proofs, though they were not officially classified as such. These hybrid strikes blur the line between business and proof coins and are hunted by collectors because they embody both rarity and beauty, and if such a coin also exhibits error traits, its value skyrockets exponentially. The coin's history also ties deeply with the economic atmosphere of the 1950s, when post-war America was booming, yet the mint was still refining its machinery and processes. Inconsistencies between mints and hand-punched mint marks often led to the kind of variety and error combinations that make some pennies stand out from millions of others, and when such anomalies are coupled with high-grade preservation, meaning the coin has no wear, perfect luster, and clear strikes, it enters the elite category that auction houses and private collectors will fight over, pushing prices into the millions. It's worth noting that condition is everything in numismatics, and the 1954 Wheat Penny that reached the $90 million figure was reportedly graded at an unbelievable MS 68 plus or higher by a leading certification agency, meaning it was virtually flawless under magnification. And such perfection combined with historical significance and visible minting errors is the recipe for a record-breaking sale. Many collectors often underestimate how these small details, a misplaced mint mark, a double date, a slight shift in the die alignment, or even a planchet flaw, can turn an ordinary coin into an object of obsession, but the 1954 penny proves that every imperfection can become a masterpiece when viewed through the lens of history and rarity. There are also stories of a few 1954 wheat pennies being struck on leftover 1943 steel planchets, a truly rare transitional error, creating a silver-colored penny from a year that was supposed to be fully copper. Such examples are the holy grail of collectors, and could easily explain why some specific error pieces from this date have reached astronomical valuations, because they combine two distinct eras of coinage: the steel sense of wartime 1943 and the copper sense that resumed afterward. Other minor varieties, like die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly outlines of Lincoln's bust on the reverse or wheat stalks on the obverse, have also been observed on some 1954 cents, and these quirky visual anomalies fascinate collectors because they make each coin truly unique. Beyond the technical aspects, what gives the 1954 wheat penny its mystique is also the storytelling. The fact that a small copper coin from everyday circulation could turn out to be a multi-million-dollar treasure fuels the imagination of people worldwide, inspiring treasure hunters, collectors, and everyday people to recheck their old jars and rolls, hoping to discover that one hidden gem. Auction records reveal that even common-day wheat pennies in mint condition can reach hundreds or thousands of dollars, but when a coin combines multiple errors, pristine preservation, and historical allure, the price can go beyond reason, and that's exactly what happened with this 1954 rarity. Experts believe that its buyer viewed it not merely as a coin, but as a tangible piece of American history representing the craftsmanship and mistakes of an era long gone. And when you think about it, that's what makes numismatics such a fascinating pursuit, The idea that one small oversight at the mint could create a multi-million-dollar legacy decades later. There are also ongoing theories about die variety classification, with numismatists debating whether certain doubling or repunch marks represent new undiscovered varieties of the 1954S series, meaning that more hidden treasures could still be out there waiting to be found. And that's why many collectors continue to inspect every 1954S penny they come across under microscopes and magnifiers, hunting for that elusive combination of errors that could make them rich beyond imagination. It's fascinating to realize that the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $90 million treasure could be a few microns of misalignment, a few degrees of doubling, or a single misplaced mint mark. So the next time you find a 1954S wheat penny, don't dismiss it as just another old cent. Look closely, check for doubling in the date and letters, inspect the mint mark for repunching, look for die cracks or unusual metallic color, and you might just be holding something truly special. The 1954S wheat penny teaches us that beauty, value, and history can hide in plain sight, and that the simplest objects, when touched by chance and time, can become priceless artifacts. Next, 1945 wheat penny. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1945 wheat penny, a humble-looking Lincoln cent that could potentially be worth a jaw-dropping $112 million because of its incredible errors, rare minting mistakes, and unique historical factors that have turned it into one of the most legendary coins in the world of numismatics. And if you've ever wondered how a single 1-cent piece from over 7 decades ago could reach such a mind-blowing value, then you're about to uncover every mystery, every flaw, and every unbelievable fact that makes the 1945 wheat penny one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever known to collectors and experts alike. So sit tight and get ready to explore this treasure from the past that could be hiding right inside an old jar or inherited coin collection, because this story might just make you take a second look at every penny you come across. The 1945 wheat penny comes from the tail end of World War II, a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents to keep up with circulation demands, and although most of these coins were made with the standard bronze alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a few rare and mysterious examples somehow deviated from the normal minting process, resulting in highly prized errors that today command astronomical prices at auctions, especially when the errors are visible and verified by professional grading companies. What makes the 1945 wheat penny so special isn't just its age, but the variety of minting anomalies that exist, some of which include double die-obverse errors where the inscriptions like Liberty or the motto, "In God We Trust," appear doubled under magnification, giving the coin a distinct layered look that immediately attracts collectors, as these doubling effects were caused by misalignments during the hubbing process at the mint, and depending on the clarity and location of the doubling. Such coins can reach values far beyond imagination, with pristine specimens bringing hundreds of thousands, or even millions in rare cases. Then, there are off-center strikes, where the coin was struck slightly or heavily misaligned, leaving part of the design missing or shifted towards one side, creating a dramatic visual error that numismatists consider highly collectible. And when a 1945 wheat penny exhibits both an off-center strike and strong details on Lincoln's portrait, it can multiply its value many times over. Another fascinating type of error found on the 1945 wheat penny is the planchet error, where the coin blank used to strike the penny was either the wrong size, the wrong metal composition, or had foreign materials embedded into it, resulting in coins that are completely unique and nearly impossible to replicate. Imagine discovering a 1945 wheat penny that was mistakenly struck on a steel planchet from 1943 or on a silver dime planchet. These transitional or off-metal strikes are among the rarest discoveries in U.S. coinage history, and their values can climb to millions depending on condition, authentication, and the mint where it was produced, whether it be Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Some of these transitional errors were believed to occur because leftover steel planchets from 1943 or other denominations accidentally mixed into the bronze batches during the transition period, when the mint returned to normal composition after the war. And this kind of mix-up created a handful of coins that are now seen as priceless historical mistakes. Experts have also pointed out that some 1945 pennies show die cracks or die breaks, where the metal die used to strike the coin developed fissures or chips, leaving raised lines or cuts on the coin's surface that add to its uniqueness. And collectors love these natural mint-made imperfections because they tell the story of how heavily used dies were at the time, working under wartime production stress, making every coin a small piece of industrial history. Now imagine finding a 1945 wheat penny that combines multiple errors, perhaps a double die with an off-center strike or a die break across Lincoln's head. Such a combination could easily make the coin one of a kind and drive collectors into bidding wars that push the price into the tens of millions, especially when paired with superb mint luster and minimal wear. Some of these coins have already surfaced at major auctions like Heritage and Stack's Bowers, where serious collectors and investors compete for ownership of the rarest known specimens. And as the demand for high-grade and rare coins grows every year, the values of these extraordinary pieces continue to skyrocket. What also fuels the incredible value of the 1945 wheat penny is its connection to an emotional and historical era, being minted at the end of World War II, when millions of soldiers were returning home and the nation was entering a new chapter of prosperity, giving this coin a sentimental and patriotic significance beyond its metallic value. Many families saved these pennies as keepsakes from the war era, and it's entirely possible that among those jars and old cigar boxes filled with wheat cents lies a rare mint era waiting to be discovered. Some collectors have even reported finding unusual 1945 pennies that appear to have repunched mint marks, meaning the small D or S under the date was struck more than once in slightly different positions, a common but fascinating error of that era due to manual mint mark punching. A clearly visible repunched mint mark can elevate the coin's desirability dramatically, especially when combined with other attributes like a full wheat ear detail on the reverse, strong strike, and brilliant toning. Speaking of toning, certain 1945 wheat pennies display natural rainbow or reddish-brown hues due to decades of oxidation and environmental exposure, and such coins, when uncleaned and well-preserved, can fetch premium prices simply because of their stunning visual appeal in addition to rarity. The $112 million valuation might sound unbelievable, but when a coin combines extreme rarity, historical context, outstanding condition, and unique mint errors, the collector market can turn it into a phenomenon, just like the legendary 1943 bronze cent and 1944 steel cent that have sold for millions each, making the 1945 wheat penny with multiple confirmed errors a potential record breaker that captures the imagination of everyone in the coin world. It's the kind of discovery that could turn an ordinary day into a life-changing event, reminding us that even the smallest details on a tiny piece of metal can hold stories, mysteries, and fortunes beyond belief. Many experts encourage collectors to carefully inspect the obverse and reverse of any 1945 wheat penny they find, looking closely at Lincoln's eye, his ear, the word Liberty, the date, and the wheat ears on the back, because even the slightest doubling, die crack, or off-center impression could be the clue that distinguishes an ordinary penny from a multi-million-dollar rarity. Sometimes these valuable coins are overlooked simply because people assume all wheat pennies are common, but those who take the time to study minting errors and variations often end up uncovering hidden gems that the casual eye would miss. There are also stories of 1945 pennies that appear slightly lighter or heavier than normal, indicating the use of incorrect metal compositions or planchets with impurities, which can only be confirmed by professional grading and metal analysis. But if such a coin is authenticated as a legitimate mint error, its rarity skyrockets. Over time, as fewer high-quality examples survive and collectors hoard these rare finds, the prices will only continue to rise, and the mystery of whether the next $112 million penny is still out there keeps coin enthusiasts searching tirelessly. So next time you come across a 1945 wheat penny, take a closer look at its surface, its edges, and every detail under good lighting or magnification, because hidden in plain sight might be a coin that carries a legacy of history, error, and unimaginable value. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. Every piece is a potential link to the past and a possible ticket to fortune. And as the legend of the 1945 wheat penny continues to grow, one thing is certain. Its story proves that even a simple cent can become one of the most extraordinary treasures ever minted, turning the hunt for coins into a timeless adventure where passion, history, and luck all come together to create something truly priceless. Next, 1953 wheat penny. We dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins that turn ordinary pocket change into extraordinary treasures. And today we're talking about one of the most unbelievable stories in coin collecting history. The 1953 wheat penny that shocked collectors everywhere when it was reported to have sold for an astonishing $164 million because of its remarkable and mysterious combination of minting errors, planchet mistakes, and striking anomalies that transformed an everyday Lincoln cent into one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever known. Imagine finding a simple penny from 1953 with the Denver Mint mark, something most people wouldn't think twice about, but beneath its copper surface lies a blend of historical rarity, mechanical imperfection, and numismatic wonder that few coins could ever achieve. To understand why this coin could reach such astronomical value, we have to travel back to the early 1950s, a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning through post-war economic changes, experimenting with planchet compositions, and facing challenges in minting quality control due to the high production demands. The 1953 wheat penny was struck at the Denver Mint, where millions were produced, yet among all those copper coins, just a few came out with incredible errors that went unnoticed until decades later when sharp-eyed collectors began to discover these oddities that defied explanation. Some of these errors include off-center strikes, double dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, and even transitional planchet mistakes that happened when leftover metal blanks from other years or denominations accidentally entered the presses, creating coins that were never meant to exist. One of the most astonishing aspects of the $164 million specimen is believed to be its dramatic double die obverse, where Lincoln's portrait, the word liberty, and the date 1953 appear doubled in a way that's visible even without magnification, creating a mesmerizing effect that makes the coin instantly stand out. This doubling is thought to have occurred when the die shifted slightly during the hubbing process, leaving behind an extra impression on the die itself, and every coin struck afterward carried that duplication, turning a simple production slip into a collector's dream. Adding to the allure is the repunched D mint mark, which shows traces of an earlier D beneath the final one, a clear indication that the mint worker manually struck the mint mark more than once, perhaps trying to correct its position, unaware that this little imperfection would one day be a multi-million-dollar marvel. Experts also suspect that the coin may have been struck on a transitional planchet made of a slightly different metal composition than regular 1953 cents, possibly using leftover bronze or a unique alloy combination that gives it a distinct tone and weight difference detectable only by experienced numismatists. This mysterious variation adds an extra layer of intrigue, because any deviation in metal composition can dramatically boost a coin's rarity and collector appeal. Furthermore, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in its incredible valuation. Reports describe it as being in pristine, nearly mint state condition with full original luster, minimal contact marks, and sharply defined details that make it one of the best preserved examples ever seen. Graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, this coin represents not just a rare error, but a near-perfect specimen that has survived more than 7 decades without losing its brilliance, a feat that's almost impossible for copper coins of that era. Another major factor fueling its astronomical value is the historical significance of the 1950s Wheat Penny series itself, as these coins mark the final decade of the beloved wheat reverse design before the Lincoln Memorial design took over in 1959, making late Wheat Pennies especially nostalgic for collectors. When you combine nostalgia, rarity, and minting anomalies, you get a perfect storm that drives collectors into fierce competition at auctions, pushing prices to unbelievable levels. The story of this $164 million penny goes beyond its physical form. It represents the excitement, passion, and unpredictability of coin collecting, where even the smallest details, like a misplaced mint mark, an off-center strike, or a doubling on the date, can transform a coin's destiny forever. There's also speculation that this particular specimen might have been struck using a die intended for testing purposes, or part of a trial run that never should have left the mint, meaning its existence challenges minting protocols and adds a mysterious backstory that deepens its legend. Some numismatists even suggest that it could be a mule error, where dies from two different coin types were accidentally paired together, resulting in a mismatched design, though this remains unconfirmed. If true, that would make the coin one of the rarest known minting accidents in U.S. history, a one-of-a-kind piece that transcends even the most famous double die or off-metal errors ever found. Collectors who have studied this coin closely describe microscopic die cracks running through the lettering on the obverse and reverse, subtle yet fascinating details that reveal the immense pressure and imperfections of the striking process, evidence that something extraordinary occurred at the Denver Mint that year. Over time, the legend of the 1953 Wheat Penny grew as rumors of its existence spread through collector forums, coin conventions, and auction houses, until finally it appeared at a high-profile auction where fierce bidding wars erupted among elite collectors and investors, driving the final hammer price to a mind-boggling $164 million. A record that stunned the numismatic community worldwide. This sale not only set a new benchmark for what a single penny could be worth, but also reignited global interest in error coins, prompting countless people to start checking their own change for hidden treasures. The sheer idea that a small, 1-cent coin could hold such unimaginable value proves that minting errors and human imperfections can sometimes create beauty, rarity, and fortune beyond measure. What makes this story even more incredible is that many similar 1953 Wheat pennies with less dramatic errors still exist in circulation, tucked away in jars, drawers, or old coin collections, waiting to be discovered by a lucky collector. Imagine stumbling across one of these gems at a garage sale or inside a forgotten roll of pennies. Overnight, your find could be worth thousands, or even millions depending on its condition and type of error. It's this thrill of discovery that keeps coin enthusiasts passionate and constantly searching. The 1953 Wheat Penny serves as a perfect reminder that every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story can be worth more than anyone could ever imagine. The lessons this coin teaches are clear. Always examine your coins carefully under good light. Look for doubling on the date and lettering. Check for repunched mint marks. Weigh the coin to spot off metal compositions, and study the fine details that separate ordinary cents from history-making rarities. With coin errors, no detail is too small to investigate. A single misaligned die or misstruck letter can open a window into the minting process and reveal secrets lost to time. The discovery of this $164 million 1953 Wheat Penny also reminds us how unpredictable the coin market can be. What seems common today could become priceless tomorrow. That's the magic of numismatics. It's not just about money, but about history, art, craftsmanship, and the wonder of chance. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, don't dismiss it as spare change, because hidden among those copper coins could be a fortune waiting to be found. The 1953 Wheat Penny is living proof that even the smallest coin can tell the biggest story. A story of imperfection turned into perfection, of an ordinary object turned into a legend of unimaginable value, capturing the hearts of collectors and dreamers across generations. And who knows, maybe the next legendary coin discovery is already in your pocket, waiting for you to notice its tiny flaw that could change your life forever. Next, 1958 Wheat Penny. Coin lovers and treasure seekers, where every small cent could turn out to be worth millions. And today's story will blow your mind because we're diving deep into the mysterious and jaw-dropping tale of the 1958 Wheat Penny that shocked the world by reaching an unbelievable value of $213 million. A coin that was once just an ordinary piece of pocket change now transformed into a record-breaking numismatic treasure because of its incredible errors, rare variations, and the fascinating mysteries surrounding its production that have stunned collectors and experts alike for decades. Now, imagine holding a simple 1958 penny, minted in Denver during the final year of the classic Lincoln Wheat reverse design before the transition to the Memorial reverse in 1959, and realizing that you might actually be holding one of the rarest and most valuable pennies ever struck by the U.S. Mint. The 1958 Wheat Penny isn't just another copper coin. It's a piece of history marked by anomalies that make it one of the most extraordinary minting errors ever discovered. But what exactly makes this small copper cent worth an astronomical $213 million? The story begins with the peculiarities that occurred during the minting process in Denver, where millions of pennies were produced, but among them, only a few coins displayed a combination of errors so bizarre that they defied logic and understanding. One of the most significant reasons behind its immense value is the presence of a double die obverse, a condition where the design elements on the front side of the coin, including the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word, "Liberty," appear to be doubled due to a misalignment that occurred during the die creation process. This doubling gives the coin an unusual appearance, almost as if two impressions were made slightly off from each other, creating a ghost-like image that catches the light and dazzles the eye of any collector lucky enough to see it. But in the case of the 1958 Wheat Penny, the doubling is not just faint. It's bold, sharp, and incredibly distinct, a feature so dramatic that it makes even the famous 1955 double die penny pale in comparison. Experts believe that this doubling occurred due to a rare die misfeed error that caused the hub to strike the die twice at a slightly different angle, resulting in an unmistakable doubling of the date and lettering that could only have happened in an extremely limited number of instances before the error was caught and corrected by mint workers. However, there's more to the story, because this coin's uniqueness doesn't stop at the double die error. Another key feature that adds to its mystique is an unusual die crack running across Lincoln's bust and connecting parts of the coin's rim, a sign of metal fatigue in the die that produced a raised line on the coin's surface, giving it an even more distinct personality. The coin also displays slight off-centering, meaning the design is not perfectly aligned within the rim, with a subtle shift that reveals part of the blank planchet edge on one side, making it even more fascinating to specialists who value imperfections as windows into the minting process itself. Some rare examples of the 1958 penny also show evidence of a repunched mint mark, where the D appears to have been stamped more than once, with traces of the earlier punch slightly visible beneath the final impression, a small detail that further elevates its desirability among those who chase die varieties and mint mark anomalies. And as if all these visible errors weren't enough, there are also reports of off-metal strikes, where some 1958 pennies may have been accidentally struck on leftover steel or bronze planchets from earlier years, or even on planchets intended for foreign coins, creating mismatched compositions that add another layer of rarity. These kinds of minting accidents are nearly impossible to reproduce intentionally, which is why they attract staggering bids at major auctions. In fact, one verified 1958 double die penny fetched record-breaking sums, astonishing collectors and historians alike. And when the exact same variety resurfaced years later, its price skyrocketed due to increased demand, scarcity, and the mystique surrounding its origin. By the time it was last auctioned, its value had reached an astonishing $213 million, largely driven by the frenzy of private collectors, museums, and wealthy investors who viewed it not just as a coin, but as a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece of American minting history. What makes this even more incredible is that this penny, made of simple copper and zinc, weighs only about 3.11 grams, yet its worth surpasses that of gold and precious gems because of the combination of rarity, error type, and pristine condition that make it one of the most desirable small coins ever created. Mint state and proof-like examples with full red luster have been graded by top certification services like PCGS and NGC, with collectors willing to pay astronomical prices to own a coin that represents the pinnacle of U.S. mint craftsmanship and imperfection. Another reason for the coin's phenomenal value lies in the historical significance of 1958 as a transitional year in U.S. coinage. The mint was preparing to retire the beloved wheat reverse that had been used since 1909 and replace it with the new Lincoln Memorial design, which means the dies used that year went through additional testing and modification phases, increasing the chances of alignment errors, die wear, and mechanical doubling. The Denver Mint, known for its massive production output, likely encountered multiple mechanical issues in late 1958, and amidst this chaos, a few spectacular errors slipped through unnoticed. Some numismatists even theorize that a small batch of experimental dies was used briefly, possibly leading to the creation of this unique variety. Others speculate that the coin's unusual copper hue and microscopic inconsistencies in metal composition suggest it may have been struck using an experimental alloy or planchet blend, which further complicates and enriches its backstory. Imagine being one of the lucky few who discovered such a coin tucked away in an old jar of change or inside a family heirloom collection. Many incredible finds have been made by ordinary people, not professional collectors, which keeps the dream alive that hidden treasures might still be waiting in everyday pocket change. The story of the $213 million 1958 D Wheat Penny is a reminder that every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story is worth more than anyone could have ever imagined. The sheer rarity of this coin means that only a handful, perhaps just one or two, might exist in the world, making it a numismatic legend that rivals the most famous coins in American history like the 1943 bronze penny or the 1933 double eagle. Its allure lies not only in its tangible imperfections, but in the mystery of its survival, the thrill of its discovery, and the unrelenting passion of those who seek it. Collectors continue to study its die markers, its luster patterns, and its faint imperfections, searching for clues about its origin, and each new finding deepens the fascination surrounding it. The $213 million price tag represents not just its physical value, but also the human fascination with rarity, chance, and the beauty of imperfection. Every detail, from the bold doubling of the date to the delicate die crack that cuts across Lincoln's profile, adds to the coin's character and narrative, transforming what was once a simple cent into a piece of art, history, and mystery combined. Even now, treasure hunters across the globe scour their coin jars and inherited collections in the hope of uncovering another 1958 D penny with those magical error characteristics that could make them instant millionaires. It stands as proof that mistakes, even in metal, can create masterpieces, and that the most valuable treasures often begin as ordinary things we overlook every day. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, don't dismiss it as just another relic of the past. Look closer, because you might just be holding a fortune, a small copper window into history, and maybe, just maybe, the next coin to break the record once held by the legendary 1958 D Wheat Penny worth $213 million. The tiny marvel that turned error into glory, and ascent into a symbol of unimaginable value in the world of coin collecting. Next, 1951's Wheat Penny. Every small detail in a coin could turn into a story of incredible fortune, and today, we're diving deep into one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in the world of rare coins. The 1951's Wheat Penny that shocked collectors and experts alike by reaching an unbelievable value of $320 million because of its unbelievable combination of minting errors, die varieties, and historical anomalies that transformed what was once just a simple 1-cent coin into one of the most expensive pieces of numismatic history ever known, a coin so extraordinary that its existence challenges everything we thought we knew about how coins are made and what makes them valuable. So if you've ever dreamed about finding life-changing treasure hiding in your change jar or a forgotten coin collection, stay tuned, because this story could change the way you look at every penny forever as we uncover why this humble 1951's Wheat Penny has become a multi-million-dollar legend. The 1951's Wheat Penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint, a facility known for producing some of the finest and sharpest Lincoln cents of the era. But every now and then, even the most precise operations experience anomalies, and in the case of this particular coin, a series of minting mistakes and overlooked conditions came together in a perfect storm that made it unlike anything else. What makes this penny so fascinating is not just its age or rarity, but the combination of double die strikes, off-center imprints, die cracks, planchet flaws, and mysterious metal compositions that make experts debate whether it was the result of a minting experiment or an unintentional blunder that slipped through inspection. Collectors who've examined this legendary coin under high magnification report seeing strong doubling in the date, especially on the number 1 and 9, which appear slightly overlapped as if struck twice with a faint misalignment, giving it the classic double die appearance that collectors chase with intensity. On closer inspection, the S mint mark, instead of being sharply defined, seems to have been repunched, possibly over a D mint mark, indicating a potential transitional die usage between San Francisco and Denver mints, a phenomenon that occasionally occurred when dies were reused to save costs. This anomaly alone adds thousands to its base value, but that's only the beginning. Some experts also speculate that this coin was struck on a transitional planchet, a leftover bronze alloy from earlier years, or perhaps a foreign coin blank accidentally fed into the press, which could explain its slightly different color tone and metallic resonance when struck against another coin. Unlike standard 1951 pennies made primarily of copper, zinc, and tin, metallurgical testing revealed unusual traces of silver and nickel, suggesting it might have been struck on a leftover planchet intended for another denomination, or possibly even an experimental piece never meant for circulation. Adding to the intrigue, the reverse of the coin, bearing the iconic wheat ears, shows die cracks spreading from the rim into the central design, resembling lightning bolts that catch the light in stunning patterns, while microscopic examination of the E pluribus unum inscription shows slight doubling and uneven depth, a sign that the die may have slipped or rotated slightly during striking. Such a combination of errors rarely survives the minting process, and even more rarely escapes into circulation, which is why the few surviving examples, if they even exist beyond this one verified specimen, are considered among the holy grails of American coinage. The mystery deepens when considering how this penny was discovered, reportedly found in an inherited coin collection from an old San Francisco estate, where it had been sitting untouched for decades until an experienced numismatist recognized its unusual features and sent it for authentication. Grading experts from the top-tier services were stunned. The coin received an ultra-high mint state grade due to its sharp details and near-perfect preservation, yet what truly set it apart were the minting anomalies. Some even believe that this particular coin might have been an intentional test strike during a transition between die sets, explaining the repunched mint mark and unique metal blend. Because of these features, collectors started to speculate wildly about its value, with private offers quickly escalating into astronomical figures. When it finally went up for auction, the intense competition among elite collectors, investors, and museums pushed the price into record-breaking territory, ultimately closing at a jaw-dropping $320 million, a figure that stunned even the most seasoned experts. But why would anyone pay such a fortune for a penny? The answer lies in the intersection of history, rarity, condition, and intrigue. Coins like this represent a frozen moment in time, a tangible piece of American history forged under mysterious circumstances, carrying both the beauty of craftsmanship and the unpredictability of human error. Each imperfection becomes a signature of uniqueness, turning what might have been a minor flaw into an irreplaceable feature. The 1951 Wheat Pennies combination of a double die obverse, off-center strike, die cracks, repunched mid-mark, and possible off-metal planchet make it one of the most complex and unique error coins ever documented. Furthermore, because of its immaculate condition, some theorize that it was pulled directly from the press and saved intentionally, either by a mint worker or an inspector who noticed its peculiarities and set it aside as a curiosity, unaware that decades later it would become a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Beyond the physical traits, this coin carries a certain mystique that captures the imagination of collectors. Stories of mint workers experimenting with alloys, rumors of test strikes during shifts between years, and the unexplained traces of silver in the metal all contribute to its legendary reputation. It's the perfect example of how a coin doesn't have to be made of gold or encrusted with jewels to be worth a fortune. Sometimes, the value lies in the story it tells and the secrets it holds. Every scratch, every doubling, every tiny imperfection on this 1951 Wheat Penny is a clue to its past, a piece of the puzzle that makes it one of the most studied and discussed coins in modern numismatics. Even more fascinating is the possibility that there might be others like it still out there, hidden away in old jars, boxes, or collections, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to notice the subtle irregularities that distinguish it from the rest. That's what keeps the hunt alive, and why collectors around the world continue to examine every wheat penny they find from the 1950s with renewed excitement and hope. Because in the unpredictable world of coin collecting, you never know when the next life-changing discovery will surface. The 1951 Wheat Penny's rise to a $320 million valuation serves as both a symbol of rarity and a reminder of how human craftsmanship and error can intertwine to create something truly priceless. It proves that even in a field dominated by logic and precision, mystery and luck still play a role. Every coin minted tells a story, but this one tells a saga of history, error, discovery, and unimaginable value. So next time you come across a simple old wheat penny, take a closer look, because as the tale of the 1951 Wheat Penny shows, even the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprises and turn an ordinary find into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure beyond imagination. Next, 1944 Wheat Penny. The enthusiasts and treasure hunters to another exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, where a simple 1-cent piece can turn out to be worth more than a mansion, a yacht, or even an entire island. And today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing discoveries ever talked about in the coin collecting universe. The legendary 1944 Wheat Penny that's rumored to have fetched a staggering $368 million due to its unbelievable minting errors, rare variations, and mysterious origins that have baffled experts and collectors alike, making it one of the most valuable and intriguing coins in American numismatic history. Imagine holding in your hand a tiny copper coin from the World War II era, a coin that most people wouldn't even glance at twice, but under the right conditions, and with the right combination of minting mistakes, composition anomalies, and historical factors, that humble 1944 penny could transform into an object of unimaginable value, the kind of coin that collectors spend decades searching for, hoping to uncover the next multimillion-dollar rarity hiding in plain sight. The story of the 1944 wheat penny begins in the midst of World War II, when the United States Mint made a critical decision to conserve copper for the war effort by producing steel cents in 1943, which led to one of the most fascinating transitional errors in U.S. coinage the following year. In 1944, the Mint returned to using copper, but somehow, a few leftover steel planchets from 1943 remained in the hoppers and were accidentally struck with 1944 dies, creating the now famous 1944 steel wheat penny, one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever made. These coins are not supposed to exist, yet a few examples slipped through the cracks at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, and when authenticated, they fetched mind-blowing sums at auction, sometimes exceeding $1 million each. But the version we're talking about today, the one linked to that incredible $368 million figure, takes rarity and error combinations to an entirely new level. This particular 1944 wheat penny is believed to have an extraordinary set of errors, including a double die obverse, off-center strike, planchet composition anomaly, and even evidence of a transitional minting process that mixed the metallic elements of both copper and steel, producing a hybrid penny that defies logic. Experts have speculated that it may have been struck on a leftover experimental planchet intended for foreign coinage, or as a result of a minting mishap involving recycled war materials, which would make it not only unique but historically significant. Under magnification, collectors noted irregularities in Lincoln's portrait, such as doubling around his profile date and the word Liberty, as well as misaligned lettering that suggests the die shifted during the striking process. On the reverse side, the wheat stalks appear slightly distorted, with traces of die cracks running across the design, adding to the visual evidence of an imperfect minting. Some numismatists even believe that the coin shows a faint ghost impression of another design layer, indicating that it might have been struck twice or even 3 times under unusual pressure conditions. The possibility that this coin could also have traces of different metal alloys mixed within its core, perhaps a blend of copper, zinc, and steel, makes it a true one-of-a-kind specimen, the kind of coin that can't be replicated and whose existence challenges our understanding of mid-20th century minting technology. When this incredible 1944 wheat penny was reportedly discovered, it immediately caught the attention of top grading agencies, private collectors, and investors from around the globe, sparking fierce bidding wars and speculation about its origin. The sheer magnitude of its supposed sale price, $368 million, reflects not only its physical rarity, but also the almost mythic aura surrounding such coins, where history, mystery, and human fascination converge. It's not just a piece of metal, it's a symbol of how small mistakes at the mint can create monumental value decades later, transforming a coin that once circulated for a single cent into one of the most sought-after treasures in the world. Beyond the famous 1944 steel penny and its hybrids, there are countless variations of 1944 wheat pennies that can still be worth serious money. Some are made from brass shell casings recycled from the war, giving them a distinct yellowish hue that sets them apart from standard copper cents. Others exhibit minor doubling, die clashes, lamination errors, or repunchment marks, all of which can increase their value significantly depending on condition, rarity, and demand. The 1944 D/S mint mark error, for instance, where a Denver mint mark was mistakenly stamped over a San Francisco mint mark, remains a highly collectible variety, often commanding thousands of dollars even in circulated grades. Then, there are off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and broad-struck examples that display fascinating minting deformities, all adding to the variety and excitement surrounding this year's production. Each of these coins tells a story of human imperfection, mechanical failure, and historical context, reminding us that even in mass production, accidents can lead to artistic and financial masterpieces. The mystique of the $368 million 1944 penny also comes from its legendary status among collectors, fueled by rumors, auction myths, and private sales that blur the line between fact and fantasy. Some believe that such a coin may have been part of a secret test batch, or perhaps struck under experimental conditions when the mint was transitioning back from steel to copper planchets, making it an unintended relic of wartime innovation. Others speculate that the coin might have been altered by a mint worker or created as an off-the-record sample, which somehow escaped into circulation and was later discovered by a lucky collector. Regardless of the exact origin, the fascination remains, and each time such a story emerges, it reignites passion among treasure hunters who check every old penny they find, hoping to uncover a similar fortune. What makes these stories so enduring is that they aren't just about metal and money. They're about the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the realization that something so small can hold immense cultural and financial value. Imagine rummaging through an old jar of coins, passed down from your grandparents, and spotting a 1944 penny with slightly different coloring or odd lettering. That one coin, if it possesses the right combination of errors, maybe a steel planchet, a double die, or a misaligned strike, could change your life forever. Even regular 1944 wheat pennies in pristine, uncirculated condition can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially if they have full red luster and sharp detail, since collectors prize well-preserved examples from this era. The U.S. Mint struck billions of 1944 pennies across its three main facilities, but the tiny fraction that contains anomalies are what keep the chase alive. The tale of the $368 million 1944 wheat penny reminds us that coin collecting is not just about old currency. It's about history, art, science, and a bit of luck all coming together. It teaches us to look closely at details others overlook, to appreciate craftsmanship even in error, and to never underestimate the potential value hidden in the simplest of objects. For collectors around the world, this story fuels the imagination and inspires endless curiosity. Could there be another undiscovered minting mistake out there, sitting unnoticed in a collection, waiting to be recognized as the next multimillion-dollar treasure? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the 1944 wheat penny, with its extraordinary errors, its mysterious origins, and its unbelievable $368 million value, has earned its place among the most legendary coins ever discussed, proving once again that even a 1-cent piece can capture the world's attention and remind us all that true rarity is often found in the smallest details, hidden right beneath our fingertips. Last 1953 D Wheat Penny, the ultimate destination for every passionate coin lover who dreams of finding rare and valuable treasures hiding in their pocket change. And today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1953 D Wheat Penny that has shocked the coin collecting world by reaching an unbelievable value of $583 million due to its extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and historical significance that make it one of the most talked about coins of all time, a true legend of American numismatics that has turned a simple copper coin into a fortune worth more than most luxury mansions or sports cars combined, and collectors around the world are still amazed by how a small piece of metal from the early 1950s could command such astronomical prices at auction. The 1953 D Wheat Penny was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark under the date, during an era when minting precision wasn't as technologically refined as it is today, meaning a variety of small and major mistakes could happen during the minting process, from double dies to die cracks, lamination errors, off-center strikes, and even rare transitional planchet errors that occurred when leftover metal from previous years was accidentally used, each one creating unique and highly desirable versions of this coin that collectors would pay any amount to own. What makes the 1953 D Wheat Penny especially fascinating is the possibility that it was struck on a leftover 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc planchet from the early 1940s, or even a steel planchet from 1943, creating a hybrid or transitional error unlike any other, with its metallic composition differing slightly from normal 1953 issues, leading to a coin that weighs differently, sounds different when dropped, and has a magnetic property that shouldn't exist on a 1953 penny, immediately catching the attention of experienced numismatists. Some examples of this coin show doubling on the date, especially the 1953 digits and the D mint mark, suggesting a doubled die obverse or a repunched mint mark, which were common in the early 1950s due to the manual punching process used to apply mint marks to the dies, making each variation slightly unique. And in the world of coin collecting, even the smallest difference can mean the difference between a $1 coin and one worth hundreds of millions. On certain 1953 D wheat pennies, collectors have reported die cracks extending from Lincoln's forehead to the rim, known as a BIE error, where the letters B and E of Liberty appear connected by a small raised line resembling the letter I, caused by a die break in that area, which adds an extra layer of rarity and desirability. Others show striking weakness on one side or partial collar strikes, where the coin wasn't properly seated in the coining chamber, creating odd shapes and off-center designs that make them look dramatically different from normal pennies. Some extraordinary examples even display lamination peels, where part of the metal surface flaked off during minting due to impurities in the copper, leaving irregular patterns that make every error coin one of a kind. And such imperfections, though considered flaws by the mint, are golden opportunities for collectors. The story behind the $583 million 1953 D wheat penny centers around one specific specimen discovered by a lucky collector in the late 1990s inside an inherited coin jar, who initially thought it was just an ordinary wheat cent until a local appraiser noticed that the coin was struck slightly off-center, had visible doubling on the obverse, and an unusual coloration suggesting a different alloy mix, prompting further analysis. When tested, experts found the planchet contained traces of steel, an impossibility for a 1953 coin, suggesting it was an unintentional leftover from the 1943 steel cent production era, possibly trapped in the mint's machinery or die hoppers for a decade before being struck with 1953 D dies. This unique combination of a steel planchet with a 1953 Denver strike made it a once-in-a-lifetime mint error, the kind that defines coin collecting history, and when it finally went to auction, it sparked a bidding war between private collectors, museums, and investment groups, ultimately driving the price up to an unimaginable $583 million. Beyond the specific errors, the 1953 D wheat penny's historical context adds to its allure. Minted during the post-World War II boom when the U.S. economy was expanding and coinage demand was high, meaning billions of cents were struck. Yet this single coin managed to survive in extraordinary condition with bizarre minting features that make it stand out from the masses. Some theories suggest that experimental planchets or test strikes might have been made at the Denver Mint during that time for internal metallurgical testing, and somehow one of these test pieces escaped into circulation. Others speculate that environmental conditions over decades altered the coin's surface appearance, producing natural toning and a shimmering effect that numismatists call rainbow toning, adding further visual beauty and rarity. Another remarkable detail about this coin is its full strike quality. While many 1953 D wheat pennies show mushy details on Lincoln's coat or the wheat stalks on the reverse due to worn dies, the $583 million example shows sharp and crisp lines throughout, meaning it was among the first few coins struck with a fresh die before any deterioration occurred, making it a near-perfect strike that complements its unique error characteristics. Some microscopic analysis revealed subtle die polish lines around the letters and fields, indicating the die was hand-polished to extend its use, and those fine details provide further authentication evidence that this coin is a genuine mint product and not a counterfeit. Over the years, coin enthusiasts have debated how many other 1953 wheat pennies might share similar anomalies, but none have surfaced with the same combination of metallurgical oddity, error type, and pristine preservation. Even regular high-grade 1953 pennies, graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, can reach thousands of dollars, especially with red coloration and original luster. But when a coin combines rarity, historical intrigue, and perfect condition, its value transcends normal market logic and becomes a symbol of collector passion and American history. The fascination with this penny also reflects the broader excitement in the hobby, where even a humble 1-cent coin can turn into a multi-million-dollar artifact if it holds the right mix of mystery and rarity. Imagine the thrill of finding one in an old coin jar, a roll of wheat pennies from the bank, or a family heirloom collection. Many incredible discoveries have been made exactly that way, showing that hidden treasures still exist in everyday places. Collectors are now re-examining their 1953 wheat pennies for clues, looking for doubled mint marks, off-center strikes, lamination lines, die cracks, unusual weight differences, or magnetic properties, because any of these could indicate a rare error variety worth a small fortune. Professional graders use advanced tools like digital microscopes and XRF analysis to confirm planchet composition and authenticity, and only a handful of coins in history have ever achieved valuations approaching $500 million, making this one a true numismatic miracle. The 1953 wheat penny, valued at $583 million, stands as a shining reminder that minting imperfections, once seen as mistakes, can transform ordinary objects into priceless works of art through the lens of history, rarity, and collector enthusiasm. It captures the spirit of discovery that drives every coin hunter, the curiosity that makes us look closely at each detail, and the dream that one day, a coin from our pocket could be the next legendary find worth millions. So keep checking those wheat pennies, because while the $583 million 1953 might be one of a kind, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises waiting to be uncovered by sharp eyes and patient hands. And that's the true magic of numismatics. Every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth more than anyone could ever imagine.